In the past life regression party today, you'll visit two past lives, the life in between lives, and 5, 10, and 20 years into the future. The lives you will be revisiting will be your own. I'm sorry, my manners. My name is Neoshi Ging. Neoshi Green Cabro. I'm a clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist. I've been doing this work for over 6 years. And I work with people all over the world, internationally, from your everyday person to celebs, CEOs, you name it. The thing that I'm most passionate about in this work is really helping you to really dig deep to find the root cause of whatever issues that's um, bothering you, what issues that you're dealing with. And I do that through my one-on-one sessions. All right, so everybody's gonna lay back, get comfortable, get as many blankets, as many pillows as you need. All I need to see is your face, whether it be front, side, profile, doesn't matter. Beginning the process of entering deep hypnosis. In a moment, I'll count from 5 to 1. When I get to 1, you'll be in the most significant past life influencing and affecting your life today. In 1, you're there. I get a sense of your skin. Notice the color of your skin there. Noticing any conversations or communications that's happening there between yourself or others there in that space. And 5, wide awake back to your full waking consciousness. Give you guys a couple minutes to jot down what you experienced. Who wants to share first? Only if you want to share. No pressure. Only if you want to share.
The early part of the session, past life piece, I got the name Tim. My arm was hurting as well as my heart. So when it was time to go, it was a sense of I felt alone and it felt very heavy. And this T person didn't want to leave. Um, it was feelings of depression. Then I put a question of OD because of where it felt like it was like a needle and it felt very strong. And when I felt that, then that's when my heart started to feel, it was started to hurt. It was like a hurting type of feeling. But in the midst of all that, as far as the environment, he was around children. So I was around children, students. And for some reason, I saw the dog that I have now showed up then.
I kept seeing like a lot of blue. I don't know if I was like laying in the sand or something, or I don't know. It's just like I just kept seeing blue flashing and then like trees and it'll go out. So it was like more so like flashing on and off. I remember seeing like, I don't know if it was my hand, but I remember seeing like a hand come up, but it didn't touch me. It was just like kind of, over me, and then it went out. I remember seeing like a little girl with me. I have a son, so maybe I had a little girl before. But I could never see myself. I don't know, if I was, white, black, or whatever the case may be. I could never see myself. One time I felt like I kept getting like a real, like a poking in my side, and it was constant, like maybe for like a minute straight. I don't know if I was like on an island or something, but it was like you ever see like the long bridges where people like walk down. It's just like wood steps. It's like I could see that, and I had on like this skirt that was made out of like skin or something, like buffalo skin, but I didn't have on the shirt. So I said to myself, maybe that was a male figure. I did forget one part.
Mm-hmm.
My hands, like from like here to here,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I could feel like I don't know if something was lifting out of them or what, but it's like they felt real weird. Like
Okay, so what really got me was like I've struggled my entire life with kind of, well, since I got out of college with back issues, like lower back pain. And so
Mm-hmm.
immediately when I went in, I felt like I was being drugged, like my body was being drugged. And it was a woman. She looked to be maybe about 20, curly hair, but she was running with this man, this real dark skinned man. And actually, when we got ready to come out to go into the future, I looked up at him, and it's my partner now. But I immediately felt, and excuse me if I get a little emotional about this, because I immediately felt that I've dealt with abandonment issues. And so I felt like she was running, like running from something. I don't know if maybe in my spirit, I feel like maybe they possibly like had a relationship that wasn't supposed to be. Like maybe like I felt like the clothes I had on was like the clothes I had on was like it wasn't like like slave attire, but it was almost like maid attire. And I just remember it being all dirty, and I was just running, like running with this man, like just running, and he was like literally tugging me, telling me, "I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you."
You're good. You're good. Let it out. 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 Let it out.
Sorry, guys.
No, no need for you to apologize. Like I said, I don't do this shit for fun.
I just know that like over this time, like my daddy died like of an accidental overdose, and I remember feeling like he had left me. He was in and out of prison, and so he wasn't really there, but we had rekindled our relationship, and then he just died on me. And I just remember feeling like the same feeling of abandonment, of just leaving him, leaving, constantly leaving. That was the situation I felt like in this, like when he was dragging me, and it was almost like he was trying to take me with him, but he knew that I couldn't keep up, sort of thing. And so he just let go of me. And I remember, man, I remember them taking me and just like really just like torturing me in a way that
Let it out, sis. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
it really just kind of all came full circle,
Hmm.
because I do a lot of life coaching on the side. And, you know, my passion is to help Black women. And I couldn't figure out why I have this passion because I never really had a lot of friends, but it just kind of came full. Thank you. Because I've been asking to be healed from this thing and just get an understanding of it for so long. And this session was a birthday gift for me from my daughter. She's on here in India. Oh, when the spot opened up to be here, she quickly sprung into action, and I'm so grateful.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And it definitely sounds like there's more digging that needs to be done, a lot that needs to be released, a lot that we need to dig into. So, y'all gonna make me cry over here. Love it. Love it. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more to unpack there. So, whenever you decide if you're,
Yeah,
open
of
to doing a
course. No,
one-on-one session,
for
feel free to
sure.
do so. I'm able to go a bit more. Of course, it's just me and you, so we'll be able to do a lot more of digging and helping you make connect the dots, release what needs to be released, have that space and time to just release what needs to be released and do what we need to do.
Okay, so mine was kind of like all over the place because I didn't think it was like working until I started seeing like the pictures and I
Okay.
started like going with it. So one, I don't know, it was like a white baby, but I was like a twin, or but then it flashed and it was like a mother crying over a baby, so I feel like I lost a sibling or possibly a baby. I couldn't, that was fast. And then another one, I was in a field running and I felt my body actually getting heavy and my ankles started throbbing and my arms started hurting. And then I was just in the field, like tall grass, like I died in the field, like when you were saying, like, that's our last day. I felt that. Then there was another one where I was an older man, but I was in the dark and there was like water. So I don't know if I drowned. I didn't feel like burning or anything. I just saw all black. Like I got tired and that was that. I didn't have like a lot of familiar energy around me, but there was one part where I looked in the mirror. It was old school, like 1800s maybe. Like I could tell what I was wearing, but I was getting married, but it felt magical, but unfamiliar.
I had a lot happen. Like, it was so quick. It was like moving. I started floating. Um, and I was going down into like this cave of water. And mm, then I had on like, I had on this like yellow dress, but like I could see myself and be in my body like simultaneously. Like I could see myself and then be in my body. It was like I was going back and forth, and I was in the water, and I was in this cave, and I like shifted into like a sea creature. Um, and I was by myself. And then that was right before you asked to go into the first life. And then once you asked to go into the first life, I shifted into a huge bird, like a really big bird. I shifted into a bird, like a orange and red bird. And then I shifted again into an owl. Y'all bear with me. This is what was going on. I thought I was losing it, but this is what was happening. Um, and then from being the bird, then shifting into an owl, then I shifted into a human being, and it was at night. And I was by this tree. And I was talking to the tree. I was talking to the tree. And I was extremely dark. I was like midnight dark, and my hair was darker than my skin tone, and I had on this bright yellow dress, the same dress I had when I was going into the cave. Um, and it was like I was like just out there in the open, like talking. I was talking to animals, y'all, and the animals was talking back to me, and I was just out there being free, but I didn't. There was nobody else around me. Like that was the one thing. Like I was by myself, but I didn't feel alone. 'Cause I didn't feel like I was by myself. I felt like I was because the animals. I was talking to the animals. Like I didn't feel alone. So okay, one more thing, y'all. Then I started flying, and then I saw the colors purple and green. I'm an empath. I'm really sensitive. I can like feel people's emotions, and that's another thing. Like I did in when I was in the water, I did like feel like I could go off into like there was like this underwater kingdom, but I didn't really want to be there because I can feel other beings' emotions, and their emotions weren't positive, and that's why I guess I enjoyed being by the cave area. I wanted to be by myself because the emotions that I felt from other beings was really bad.
The first life that I went into, I would say I was being kind of messy. I was a guy, and there was this woman, and like she was attracted to me, and I was attracted to her, but she wasn't like available. But anyhow, we ended up messing around with each other. I was like there for her because apparently she was being abused. And I remember like I don't know if I got shot, but I ended up dying in the woods with her. The guy that she was engaged to, or the guy that she was with, he did something to me, and then he turned around and did something to her as well. So when you told us like the very first scene, like when we walked down the path, I found myself like I was waiting. I was waiting in this cabin, and it was like nighttime, and I think maybe I was waiting for her. And so the second one, I was a white woman. I was pregnant, and I had a husband who was very loving, and I had another child. It was a son, and I was very happy about being pregnant. I was living someplace rural, and after I had my baby, I remember being in bed and being really sad because like I had realized that something was wrong with my baby. I think my baby must have had like some type of disability. And because of that, I rejected her and I made my life like about my son. And I wanted my husband to still be the same way with me, but he kind of rejected me because I rejected our child. So he was there for our child, and that baby or that child did end up dying. And I just remember on my deathbed when I went to my death scene, um, it was a lot of regret because of the way I had treated her, but I was just so embarrassed and just didn't know how to like handle it or deal with what the type of life that she had or who she was.
The moment I began to go into something, it would automatically just switch. And I would come out of it. My body began to feel uncomfortable. My left shoulder, this side over here, constant pain. So it was like um under, but I'm not. Um, so during those times, I felt like I wasn't experiencing nothing. However, during the countdown and during those numbers that you said, my body just would jerk. I felt like I was almost scared to go into it. My heart would start beating fast. And again, this shoulder over here just was like, what is happening? Each time I try to get there, this pain over here. I think when you were saying walk down the stairs, water and sand started coming towards me. I don't know what that was about. But then I jumped out of that like as if I was scared.
I was not sure if I was actually like going down, like when I was like walking down the stairs, I was like I felt like if I was like there, but I wasn't sure until you said like let your body feel like weightless, and I swear I felt like if I was flying off like a kite and my physical body was holding on to like my spirit, like if it was a kite. And then, like, when we got down into that secret space, mine was a beach, and like I started to dance and flip and swim and all these things I cannot do. And like my spirit was so weightless and free in a way that like I personally was not. It was so strange. And then, like the pathway for me was a cave. I walked into a cave, and when I like walked in, I almost walked through into the light, and at first I was really confused because all I could see was the top of trees and darkness, the sky and the top. I was like in a tree and all I was seeing was the top of trees, but it was just like all a shadow and dark. And when I like kept like I think I climbed down from the tree. I didn't like I can't describe that body really well. It felt like it was a fairy, but not really. The clothes was like these different shades of like light green, very delicate, like chiffon with like these patterns on them, almost like they were like dewdrops or something like that. But there was nobody else around. I still can't see the trees. The trees are shadows. And as I was walking, my body was giving off like this light that was turning into a mist. And the mist like became a pool with all these like creatures and monsters in it. Like if I walked back into the mist, I felt like I was gonna get sucked under, which was so strange. But like if I kept walking forward, my body was giving off this light and it was a beautiful light, but the light was almost like neon and glowing, and like it started to collect in one place, almost like a body of water, but it was a mist. And there were these like creatures in it that I could not like interact with. And like when I tried to walk out of the forest, which was once again still just shadows, there were these like almost six-figure people with spears. They looked like Maasai, but they were also just a shadow, and they kept pushing me back into the forest with these spears. And when you said like go to the next stage of that life, when I saw myself as like a traveler. I wasn't the same person though. I was a traveler. I was like really fair skin, red hair. I had like all these cloth like wrapped around me. And I came to this like clearing with these six-figure people, and they were afraid of me and they shoved me into this shadow forest right away. And I was just walking in the shadow forest. It felt like months and years at the same time. Time was not a thing in this life at all. And it felt like forever and no time at all. And then I think you said like shift into another scene, and then I was a tiger, but it was like like it felt like I was supposed to morph into a tiger to hunt to eat, but there was nothing in the forest to hunt to eat, so I starved to death. And then when my soul like left my body, it went back into the cave. And that's like when it is, you said like go to the other life. And when I like walked through the cave again to the other life, I saw an old lady staring at me and she was angry and she was looking at me aggressively. And I was like, "Oh, who are you?" And she was like she could talk to me almost telepathically. And she was me. And she was seeing me. And she was mad at me. She was so pissed. And she didn't like, I was like, okay, well, like, where am I? Where are you? But she was naked when she had her head wrapped up, she was naked and she was chained by the neck to the wall, and there were other bodies there. And I was like, "Oh God, no!" I like, am I like going through the middle passage? I didn't want this. And then she was like, "No, but I'm not going to tell you." And I was like, "What is going on with this lady? Why does she have such an attitude with me?" And then I started to see her memories, and I realized that I have already repeated in this life one of the mistakes that she made in that life that she thought was like one of her biggest regrets, and that's why she was so mad at me. And then when you said like to go to another scene in the life, I saw her like, well, me younger, much younger, like maybe like 18, 19. Oh, I was never more beautiful. I was never more charming. I was never more fun. And I was like dancing with all the girls. And it was Africa. I don't know when. I'm thinking maybe 16th, 17th century. And I was like, we were all young and we were doing like this tribal thing. We were all dancing, like, I don't know, like whatever the ritual is at that point in time. And of course, the young guys were there and they had some other tournament. And like the strongest, like most charming young man was like really interested in me and a couple other girls. And he married all of us, but it was almost like if I was his favorite. But he betrayed us. He actually sold us into slavery. And like he is actually somebody that I was in a relationship with in this life some years ago. And I tried to save the other like wives and their children because I was the only one that hadn't had children at that point. But they were jealous and they didn't listen to me. So they kind of stuck around when I was telling them to run. I'll distract them, you all run. And like we all got like sold into slavery. And I then when I went to another scene in that life, I was on a show. Now it was a Caribbean island. Of course, I'm Trinidadian, so it felt like Barbados because I've been there before and I have ancestry there. But I don't think it was particularly there. But I know I tried to escape and run into the sea to kill myself, and somebody grabbed me and yanked me out of the water. And it was a white man, and he was really angry, and he used to assault me. And I had children for that man, and he used to take them and like raise them as his own. And I was just there, like by myself. I got older, and he died, and his wife hated me. And the time I dropped into was like she was having me punished. And then like I was like, okay, so what happens? Like what happens at this point? What's going to happen? Like from this point onward. And then when you said like go to the part where you die, I was like, because I was really hoping I did not die like chained to this wall. And she was on a bed and she was alone. I think there was like probably somebody else in the room further in, but like they weren't interacting with her. And like me, who I am now, felt sad because I was like, is this the second life where I just die alone? And then a young girl came in and she was really nicely dressed. Um, she was fair. And I like me on the bed started to cry when I saw her because apparently she was my granddaughter. And she was like, my son didn't acknowledge me because his father, of course, did educate him and like treat him like a white man. And then he married a white woman and they all were like there. And he didn't acknowledge my existence at all. So to see that his daughter came to see me because she heard I was dying and she held my hand while I died.
Okay, so mine was very emotional. I remember losing your voice, and it was at the beginning at the relaxing stage. It just went dark. And I remember saying, like, see, it's just dark. It's something wrong with you. And so a young girl came to me, and it was a spirit. I could not see what she said. And she said, it's nothing wrong with you. Grab my hand, follow me. So I followed her. She led me to some water. And then I jumped from there to, I was an old lady. I was a jazzy old lady, but it had to be back in the olden times. And I was in a shack, and I was just kept arguing with my husband. He kept telling me, like, you always want to go somewhere, you need to sit down. And we were just laughing. And I remember being just so happy in that scene, but it had to be in the old times. And I had the little jewelry and everything. And I was so beautiful. I had beautiful silver hair. I enjoyed that. I remember being happy there. Then I jumped to where I was this tall, brown, bald headed man with a huge beer gut, but his skin was so beautiful. And I remember grabbing a beer, going into my living room as this man. And when I got to the living room, I had mixed daughters. I had two of them, and they were fairly young. And I remember being disappointed and irritated that their feet was dirty. I remember being upset about that. And I just sat there and I was just drinking my beer, eating a snack, watching my mixed girls, and just remembering being upset that their feet was dirty. Now I'm thinking about it like, why didn't I get up and clean their feet? Then I jumped to a part where I was mirroring what was going on, but it wasn't happening at that time. Like I was getting prepared for your hypnosis. And I remember a guy that I went to middle school with. Me and him wasn't close or anything. His name was Bobby. He busted into my room while I was trying to prepare. And I remember being so upset. I started arguing with him. I started arguing with my partner's now mother. I remember feeling so much anger during this. And that's when your voice came back and you brought me out of that. And I remember having head pain, but I was so angry and I was just fussing because nobody was letting me get ready for my hypnosis. And I'm like, what's going on here? And so I remember you bringing me back saying, close that scene. And I never ever saw the ending to any part of my hypnosis. Each version I went to, I never seen an ending to any of those. Like the old lady, I didn't see her die. I did not see the man die. When I was angry trying to get ready for the hypnosis, I just ended up coming out of that, which I would remember being thankful that you brought me out of that because I was just experiencing so much anger.
So I think I experienced a little bit of what Shaw said about the anxiety and the fear, because I don't think I went completely under, but what I was seeing, like it was like pictures of, things about like, first I seen one light skinned younger boy with either dreads or two strand twists. He was dressed in all black. It was like we were walking in the dark. I remember something like that. I don't know if that's my son right now, and like we're like that was probably in the future, or if that was something in the past. And then like an older Latino looking man, but he looked angry, and he had a bat with him, and it was like he was gonna do something to me. I started getting really hot. The bottoms of my feet started hurting, and the back of my neck started hurting really bad, and I was just really uncomfortable trying to get in tune or focus on what you were telling me to do. And I was like, why can't I focus on this? I'm like, because in the beginning I had anxiety. Then it was like once you told me to start relaxing and stuff like that, my heart rate started going down and I started getting relaxed. But it was never a time where it was like I had full blown images. It was just like pictures of things. And then I think I went to sleep a little bit. So I definitely need to book a one-on-one.
I don't believe I fell asleep. The first when I heard like 97, 96, I was gone. Um when I say I was gone, I didn't come back until you was mentioning take your breath in the last body, like a sentence before that. And I'm like, where the hell did I just go? And I'm just like, okay. So I was kind of disappointed, but I had to get my mind back on track because I'm like, I believe I could be wrong. Again, I didn't fall asleep, but I didn't see anything. I didn't hear anything. It was just like I was just out. Then all of a sudden, my arms were so heavy, like my forearms were so heavy, like I was just being held down. And I don't believe I was being held down, but I had crystals in my hands too. That could have been the reason. But and I had to literally like turn my hands. I was like, get this off of me. Like I don't want this on me because it's too heavy. But then I was able to go into another life, and it was like 1938. I would remember seeing like me at a washboard or something. I did get like I don't know if y'all remember the movie Ray, but you know how Ray was. First, it was grassy. It was really grassy when I went in. It was really grassy, but how the movie Ray was on the porch, kind of on the porch scene, and I'm like, so I did see that. I did have a husband, and I remember one of the scenes I was cooking like a big pot of like porridge or something. Some way somehow my husband died, but I saw a razor. I'm like, did I kill my husband? But I was sad. I'm like, I don't know if I did this. But my husband was murdered. Well, I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know. But my husband was murdered. But I was sad. I'm like, either I did it. If I did do it, I didn't mean to. I didn't know what happened. But I do recall me being angry at my husband throughout. I just felt anger towards him. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I did kill my husband. We didn't have children, and I did want children. I do recall dying the way I died. These white men came in like with shotguns and stuff. I remember being pulled by my feet, specifically my left foot, because it started hurting. Oh, I was like, oh, they shot me, they killed me. Oh, my name was June or Jude or something like that too. My transition was my husband met me to go into the light. I had a great aunt met me to go into the light. So I had family that was there with me, guiding me into the light. There was a little girl too that my great aunt was holding. She looked like she was like 3 or 4. I don't know who she is, but she was a really pretty little girl. Um, Inside my mom's womb, it was really dark. It was sad. It was. She was like, "Is this kind of like is this what my life is going to be?" So uh, I felt a lot of sadness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Let it out. 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 Let it out.
I didn't think I would cry.
Let it out.
But I felt a lot of sadness. And that's that sadness actually trickled over to me in this lifetime from my mom. Oh,
Let it out. Let it out. Let it out.
I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize.
No, there's no apology needed. This is a safe space. Let it out.
She didn't really want me, if that makes sense. Because she was a child, and she didn't have help either. That trickled over to me feeling like I was neglected, feeling like I was abandoned. But it was my mom not being in tune with her emotions.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for sharing because it really helped me to like even remember certain parts of it for myself too. Because when I first came out of it, I was like, my second past life, it was hard for me to remember it. But my first, I remembered so vividly. So, like my first past life, it was similar to some of what you talked about. Some of you guys talked about it was like being married. I was in like the 1920s and I remember like being in the kitchen and washing dishes. And my husband, every time he enters the room or he sees me, he sings to me. And I was like, this is just so like such a beautiful experience, you know? Like he would just sing like his love for me. And then I remember getting like a sharp pain in my right side of my stomach. And I was thinking, like, am I pregnant? But then I seen that I had like an older child. It was a male, and he was maybe like in his late teens, right? And he came to me and was like, he wanted to go somewhere. And I immediately like started to have like this gut feeling, this vision of like, um, where he wanted to go, like he shouldn't have gone. But instead of like saying, like, my intuition is like saying not to go, I was trying to like convince him subtly. You know, I didn't want to say, oh no, you know, I have a bad feeling about it. I was just trying to like, I guess I wasn't confident in my abilities and sharing and saying, hey, I have this gut feeling, like, you shouldn't do this. but I seen it so clearly, like where he was going and that he shouldn't have gone. And then my second life, I was I was a bald-headed black man, and I wasn't the nicest. But as soon as that experience came forth, I got like a pressure in like the right side of my head, and my arms and stuff got like really heavy. And I don't remember that lifetime too much after I saw that I was the black man and I was kind of like heavy set. But I mean, I couldn't really remember that one that much. But I do remember that I was a black man with like a bald head. And then my time in between time, I was like a tree. And I remember seeing the roots of the tree very like clearly, just being connected to the allness and the oneness. And then when I like died, or I was like in between, I just remember seeing like the branches like flowing in the wind, and it was just so peaceful and just moving. And then when you said like my dying scene, I just like burst into a light, the biggest light that I ever had envisioned, because I meditate on the light all the time, and I was connected to the earth core, and all the way up, like so far up, the light went all the way up to source, and it was like a deep, big, huge light that just connected me. And I felt so peaceful. So when I went like 10, 15 years in the future, I had no desires. I was just at peace. I was at oneness. I was happy. I didn't see much, but I just felt so happy and relieved and fulfilled in my life.